My name is Philip Grossman. My wife, Elizabeth Hansen, and I run the Schultz Foundation as part of the Great Pyrenees Rescue Group of Atlanta. We also are now starting our new YouTube channel, Living with Polar Bears, for those who know the joys of having Great Pyrenees. So back in October, our big Bueller was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. And we started frantically searching for treatments and medications and food, and we found that food is really important for the dogs, as we all know. Unfortunately, Bueller passed away a few weeks ago, and during that process I went and did deep dive into YouTube channels and talking to veterinarians and using AI research to try and figure out a natural food recipe. We were fortunate enough that somebody in our rescue group had donated some farmer's dog food, so I was able to see what it was like, how it looked, and that our dogs actually liked it. And so this is sort of the culmination of all that research, and we wanted to share it with everybody so you could do the same for your dog. Now, we do realize it's a bit more expensive. We found, although we buy most everything at Walmart, that's a little bit less expensive. It's about 50% more per month for their meals than traditional kibble, high-end kibble food. And of course, you can also augment your natural food with kibble if the expense is too great, or the time. Also, this recipe is geared, or the amount that we feed our dog is geared towards Great Pyrenees, in this case our Lucy, who's a female, about 90 pounds. So she eats about 8.5 ounces, roughly 8.5 to 9 ounces per meal. Pyrenees have a very slow metabolism. But the recipe is very simple. And we'll have it in the card below, and I'll have a card in the corner here for you to look at. But it's basically ground turkey, roughly 9 pounds of ground turkey. We're now using broccoli florets. We had been using blueberries, but we found that Lucy did not like the blueberries and would usually leave 1 or 2 of them behind. Green beans, green peas, spinach, frozen spinach. You can use rice or quinoa. We started using quinoa. There was some discussion about arsenic in rice, but it turns out it's such a small amount, it really isn't that impactful. But just through reading a general article in the news about what we grow in America, sorghum is a product that we grow here in America, which is very inexpensive in comparison to the others. So we started using sorghum, and it's actually slightly better for the dogs. And then, of course, raw sweet potatoes, zucchini, carrots. We are now using olive oil to add some oil. We also supplement her meals with omega-3s and some joint supplements and some fish oil in order to help with her skin and her fur, as those who have Great Pyrenees know. The recipe also calls for 3 eggs, as well as the eggshells, but we found using the eggshells to be somewhat difficult to really be able to crunch them small enough so that they weren't ingesting large pieces, which could inflame or cut their intestines or stomach. So we've gone to just buying calcium carbonate powder, which just makes it that much easier. We use our pressure cooker to do the cooking because we found it's a bit faster and a bit simpler. You can just do all this in giant stock pots if you don't have a pressure cooker. During the process, I found that using a 3-gallon food grade bucket with a gamma airtight lid really makes the process easier, because it takes time for each of the components to be put together. And so in between that, instead of stuffing our refrigerator full of all this stuff, we can throw it into the bucket and seal the lid, and that will keep the food sterile until the next ingredient can be put in. And when it's all done, we individually vacuum seal the pouches for Lucy. So we do them in 8.5 ounce vacuum sealed, chamber back vacuum sealed pouches. You can just use Tupperware and freeze them. For us, it's just that much easier. We have busy lives, and we want to make sure the dogs get the exact amount of food. So we're going to go through all of the various ingredients and the process that we do for our Lucy, and our special needs foster Obi. And we hope you enjoy this, and we're grateful to be able to share this information with our soon-to-be launched YouTube channel, Living with Polar Bears. All right, the first step in this process for us, we do the meat first. It's the shortest in the pressure cooker. It's about 10 minutes on high for each batch. I usually break it into 2 batches. We have the Instapot max, I believe it is. So it's a 6-quart Instant Pot. They do make an 8-quart Instant Pot, which probably could do it in one. So, and it's real simple. Just open up the package of turkey. I do use a small silicone strainer inside. It just helps keep things from sticking. And if you've ever used Instant Pots, sometimes you'll get burn warning notices on there. So it's just helped me. It does mean I have to probably do 2 batches for everything instead of 1, because it does take up a little space. But we just drop the turkey in there. And as I mentioned, we do it in 2 batches just to make it easier for me. Take half of this. In there. And then each Instant Pot's a little bit different. The recommendation's usually about 2 cups of water. You just have to make sure you have enough water in your Instant Pot so that your food cooks, it can come up to pressure and doesn't burn. So we'll just add the 2 ounces of water, 2 cups of water, excuse me. Put the lid on. Set it to pressure cook. It's about 10 minutes on this Instant Pot for the turkey. I use the instant vent, not the natural release. I do not do any warming on it. There's no delay. And that's all you have to do. And then you just hit start. And that's it. So about 10 minutes, this thing will pressurize, and then when we're done with this, we'll do the next batch, and then we'll combine them all into the bucket. All right, well, while the meat is cooking, I typically will go through and just chop up all the vegetables just to make it a little bit easier and faster. Whatever technique you want to use. I'm not a chef, I'm an engineer. So I just try to make them as small and as fine as possible in order for them to fit as much as possible into the pressure cooker, and just bag them all up. All right, now that the meat is done, it's all been finally cooked, it's actually in our 3-gallon bucket there cooling and it's been chopped up. It's now time to do the vegetables. Normally it takes probably 2 pots depending on how fine you've chopped the vegetables up. There's no rhyme or reason as to which vegetables go in where. We just fill it until the Instant Pot is fully filled with the vegetables, and use the mix of the frozen and the fresh at the same time. Again, it's all going in the same place. So I usually try to put some of the frozen in as well as some of the fresh vegetables until the pot is full. And again, fill it to the top. Each Instant Pot's a little bit different, so follow directions. And then again, about 2 cups of water, because you have to be able to generate the steam and the pressure within the Instant Pot. Put the lid on. And the time's just a little bit different. The meat was 10 minutes on high, and for the vegetables, we typically do it at 20 minutes on high. Again, no, I do instant vent. You can do natural vent. It just takes longer with natural venting. There's no benefit in our recipe to natural venting, and then no warming. And then hit start, and then we just let this go. And again, it'll take 2 pots to get all the vegetables done, and then we'll put those into the 3-gallon bucket and mix in the final ingredients as well. All right, now the last thing we have to cook is the sorghum. Now, like I said earlier, you can use rice. We've seen recipes for rice. We use quinoa at the beginning. We just found it was more cost effective to use the sorghum, and we can buy it in bulk. It's 16 ounces of sorghum into the Instant Pot. 6 cups of water. And then the cooking time for this is about 30 minutes on high, and that's all you need to cook this. So we'll set it to high. We'll kick it up to 30 minutes. And we'll hit start. And once this is done, then we'll finish mixing all the ingredients into the bucket, and we'll show you a few extra ingredients we add at that time as well. Okay, we're almost done with all the prep work and putting everything together. So the sorghum has been completed, 16 ounces. Took about 30 minutes in the pressure cooker. So we add that to all of our other ingredients in the bucket. Next we add a whole can of pumpkin puree. It's not pumpkin pie filling, but pumpkin puree, so it's just pure pumpkin. And then finally we add 2 tablespoons of calcium carbonate. Lucy's really getting excited for this. Hey Lucy, it's okay. The calcium carbonate is the replacement for the eggshell. Add that in. 3 whole eggs. And then the last thing is a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Once that's all in the bucket, we mix it all together. All right, now that it's all mixed, we'll go ahead and begin bagging it up. Now, again, we bag ours individually just because we have a busy life and we want to make it easier for ourselves in the morning. You can just put it into a Tupperware and freeze it. This recipe makes about a little over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks for Lucy at about 8.5 to 9 ounces per meal. She gets 2 meals per day. She's a female Pyrenees, about 85 to 90 pounds. Larger dogs obviously will need a little bit more. But that's why we go ahead and we'll vacuum seal this. All right, now we're ready to vacuum seal. So I have a JVR Industries chamber vacuum sealer. You don't have to have a vacuum sealer. You can use a food saver if you want, or just put it into Tupperware and put the Tupperware in the freezer. This just makes it easier for Elizabeth and I in feeding in the morning when we're in a hurry. But just take my pot, my bowl, put it on the scale. You know, like I said, Lucy gets about 8.5-ish ounces per meal, gets fed twice a day. It's not rocket science, so you don't have to be 100% accurate. It's, you know, usually about 8.5 to 9 ounces. You take the bag. These are 6x8 chamber vacuum seal bags. This is a funnel or for canning, so it's a bit wider. Just dump the content in there. We shake it. 1 bag's ready. In this particular vacuum sealer, I can actually bag or seal 2 bags at one time, so it speeds the process up a little bit. Put another serving of food in here. Close to 8.5. Another bag, open it up. The contents in. Shake it. Bag's filled. And then we put it in the vacuum sealer. Now, this vacuum sealer, this is roughly 50 seconds to vacuum out the air, and then about 2 seconds to seal the bag because they're not very thick bags, and then 3 seconds to cool. It's all programmed in, makes it very easy. But just close the lid and we seal. All right, and that's it. They get sealed. There we have 1 morning's meal, evening meal, and we just keep repeating this process. So that recipe made 17 days worth of food for Lucy at roughly the 8.5 ounces. So we do this twice a month. You can substitute ground beef for the ground turkey, or you can use ground chicken. Just double check the amount, make sure that they're getting a similar amount of protein and carbohydrates. We also, as I mentioned, we supplement her food in addition to the food itself. She gets turkey tail, which helps for the immune system. She gets a supplement for her joints, the omega-3. We have 2 different oils, one for the morning and one in the evenings. One is for her skin. Those of us who have Great Pyrenees know how they, especially in the south, they get itchy skin. The other one is for joint health. As I mentioned, we did this because we lost Bueller to cancer. We want to make sure that Lucy's around with us as long as possible. We learned about Myos, which helps maintain muscle mass. And then we also give her some psyllium husk, which helps with her digestive system. And then because we're adding these supplements to her food and their powders, we give her a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of bone broth. And you got to make sure it's specific for dogs, because most bone broths or other broths will have sodium, will actually have onion and garlic in them, which is not good for dogs. So we use the Brutus bone broth, both the beef and chicken flavors, and we add, like I said, a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup. We mix that in with the food. And this also enables us to be able to give them treats throughout the day, and they'll get a very good, healthy caloric intake. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We were lost when Bueller was diagnosed. We struggled, did all the research, and we just want to help everybody else. So thank you.